Hola amigos del mundo deportivo, amigos de Planeta Wrestling, estamos con Eve Torres, una de las protagonistas hace ya unos años en la compañía, pero que ahora sigue como embajadora, estando en contacto con WWE, y vamos a ver qué nos cuenta de cara a Evolution. Hello, good morning, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Good morning.
Tell us a little bit more about the evolution of Eve Torres in WWE.
Oh, you mean the evolution?
Yeah.
Just kidding. See what I did there? So my evolution or my story was I started WWE in 2007, 2008, and I came in through the Diva Search, which was the kind of old way of finding new talent for WWE, and it was their way of finding women who maybe didn't have a wrestling background, but who they felt would be like a good fit. So I came in through the Diva Search, which got me in, but then it didn't earn me respect with fans or with anyone around me. So that was like when my journey really began in terms of training, my in-ring training. I learned a lot of wrestling. A lot of what I learned on the road. So before every single show, I would have to get in the ring. I had obviously the best people in the world to learn from because I'm working, there's top talent around me. But it was it was an interesting journey in the beginning, really trying to, earn my respect both with the fans and with my peers, and really perform to the level that I knew I was capable of doing. So I would say a few years in is when I really started hitting my stride, and then I won my first Divas Championship. I would say a little too early, and then the second two were really, that's really where I kind of found myself, I think, in wrestling. So I was a 3-time Divas Champion, and towards the end of my career, I thought, compared to where we were at the time, this was kind of the Divas era, we'll call it, when they had us branded. I finally actually got a storyline, which was unheard of at the time. Like, there really wasn't many storylines for women. So I got a pretty good storyline that had me featured in some of the main event matches, and one that kind of got fans invested in me, which was great. Although of course it was a storyline that of course revolved around a man or men. Which is just so different from where it is today. So I ended my career, I retired in 2013 when I, decided that I needed to pursue my other career, which is teaching women self-defense and teaching women how to defend themselves, and also to start a family, and so which I've done. And I just had my second baby 8 weeks ago.
Wow.
So there we go.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Tell us, how do you feel when they say that you are one of the owners of this evolution?
I believe that every woman who has stepped in the ring has been a part of this, because I know that every woman who went in there wanted to do more. And I remember that very clearly. I remember being heartbroken. I remember being in tears after matches that were 4 minutes long, where we had to go out there, do our entrance, and basically it was like, okay, time to, roll them up and end the match. It was heartbreaking to know that you were capable of doing more and that you felt limited in what you were able to show the world. And I know so many women have felt that, and I have felt that as well. And so, I think my role, and that a role of many other women, has been to basically just keep asking and keep showing up and keep pushing the limits as much as we possibly can. And then it finally got to a point where the fans started speaking for themselves, and that's really what we needed.
How hard it was to change that perception of you? What did you have to do? Because you said you were coming from this reality, let's say.
Sure.
And let's say you were lacking of respect or something?
Well, I think the fans are very smart. The WWE Universe is very smart. They know, they respect people who have put in their time and who really take what they're doing seriously. And so I kind of had to prove that. And really, you prove that through having match after match after match after match, and developing your character and putting on good matches. So I think eventually I had incredible women to work with, like Beth Phoenix, who's here today with me, who I was able to put on good matches with. And then that's when the fans go, okay, she's in it, she's here, she's able to compete with the best of them. So I think that's really what it takes in order to kind of earn that respect, we'll call it, and change that perception. But even that was hard because, again, we were given limited opportunities. So when at the time, WWE kind of only allowed us to have these really short matches with no storyline, no connection, it's hard for the fans to connect with us. So it was hard to prove that we were more than just what people saw because we didn't have the opportunity to do that. And now it's just so wonderful to see that women are getting this opportunity, and they're not only getting the opportunity, but they're taking it and they're delivering and they're performing and executing and doing incredibly well.
Do you feel jealous when you see that they have these kind of opportunities now, like the pay-per-view?
Yeah, I mean, jealous is kind of a strong word, but I think there is like, I get like the itch of like, oh, that would have been really nice if this was my time right now, if I could be at this point in time and this was my, time in WWE, because what a beautiful time it is to be a woman in WWE. Incredible. Yeah. So there is a little bit of that, but at the same time, I'm so happy for them, and I'm really proud of all the women who today are just, like I said, taking these opportunities and delivering and doing, things that we never thought would be possible for us. So I'm proud of them. But yes, it gives me a little bit of, it's bittersweet, we'll say, yeah.
If you could go back in time, is there anything you would like to change from your career?
I think for me, there's always things in hindsight that you can look at. I think I was a little too, especially in the beginning, I was so worried about stepping on people's toes that I held myself back, I think, a little bit, because I wanted to be respectful of everyone. And I think what I would tell myself is just go in there and, obviously still respect everybody around you, but just do you, and like just worry about yourself, and, just do what you're there to do and do your best, instead of being kind of more timid and worrying about, upsetting this person or that person. I think you just go in and do your best.
And can you give us a top 3 of your best matches in the company?
Yeah, I would say, they were all with Beth. Actually, no, I would say, one was a match with Beth at Vengeance. One was my WrestleMania match with, actually Beth was my partner, and then we were against Kelly and Maria Menounos. And even though the match itself was, it was great, it was fine, but it was more the moment of being at WrestleMania. And then I would say my last match with Caitlyn. I think that was really meaningful, because it was important for me that when I left WWE that I was able to pass on something to another woman. And so for me, I felt like that was accomplished. It happened in her hometown. I was pretty hated at the time, and for her to retire me and to kind of take me out, it felt really good. It was the best way I could have possibly ended my career, was, again, passing that torch on to somebody else.
We know what the evolution means for the company, but what do you think that means for the rest of the wrestling business in general? I mean, for the women in general?
I think it's really meaningful for women in general. What's interesting is I think that certain industries set the standard, and then other industries kind of have to keep up. So I actually believe that kind of is what happened here with Ronda. So Ronda in the UFC, I think everybody saw. Watched Ronda basically sell out pay-per-views, sell out arenas, and then other industries said, oh, people want to see women kick ass and do, and perform and do really well. So, that then I think WWE said, okay, I think we're onto something here. And then obviously the fans felt that too. So it was this kind of connection. But I think, now that this industry, that wrestling's doing this, whether it's other wrestling promotions or whether it's even other industries similar, they say, hey, this is working for them. Maybe it'll work for us. And so when you see another industry, really putting women on the platform that they deserve to be on and giving them the opportunities they deserve, other industries may say, you know what, it's time for us to do that too, because the women are delivering and people are loving it.
We were on Friday with Stephanie McMahon in Manhattan, and she said that to make another impact in the company, she would like to sign Serena Williams for WWE. So do you have any special female athlete in mind to sign?
Oh my gosh, Serena Williams would be amazing. She would be so good. I can't even think of a better one now that she said that. And it kind of goes to show that there's not, female athletes are not highlighted in the same way that the male athletes are. You can name, off the top of your head, you can name so many male athletes that are kind of known figures to the world, whereas for female athletes, it's much harder to think of like those ones that everyone knows that are household names. And so I think the world in general can do a better job of highlighting our female athletes out there.
And finally, do you have any advice for the young talents to make a name for themselves right now or in a few months?
Yeah, I would say right now, our young talent is doing just what they need to be doing. They are, investing into their characters, into themselves. They are hungry, they're going after it, and I think that's all you need to make a name for yourself here in WWE. The most important thing is remembering that there is life after. And so really, building your brand, identifying who you are, and knowing that whatever you put into is something that you, whatever you create for yourself here is something that you're going to carry with you later. So, obviously, not necessarily relating to what kind of character you play or anything like that, but how you treat people around you, the relationships that you have with your peers and with the company, that will carry with you far longer than just your career here. So it's great, and it's a great platform if you want to do other things, but you have to kind of leverage it correctly, and I think treat others around you with respect.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.